On this week's episode, Same Fidone sits down with us and he gives us yet another left-hander's view of the game of golf. He's coming off his first cut made as a professional at the Valero Texas Open.
He's a former SMU grad and teammate of Bryson DeChambeau. Man, he's got some great stories. And let's see or hear about hunting for stolen putters on eBay.
This kid is from Texas, and of course, he's got his own opinion about barbecue and brisket. All of that and more next on Rough Fairways. So APT this week, the event starts on Thursday.
It starts tomorrow. So today I drove in from Dallas, played a pro-am, and then I tee off at 12:30 tomorrow.
Okay. Well, shoot, let's get you the full introduction to get this thing going here. You know, what's funny about your last name, Sam, is when I was doing research on you, I was hoping that it had some sort of Italian flair to it. And then I saw the pronunciation and I was just wanting it to be a Fidone. Come on, Sam, a Fidone.
I'll tell you, the best is how many people actually butcher it. It's about as simple as it looks, and people get it wrong all the time.
I looked at it and I was
awesome.
like, it has to be Italian. Just please be Italian. So to you, Sam, everybody that comes on this show is a friend of the show, and you're going to be known to me as a Fidone.
I love it. I love that. That's all I wanted my whole life growing up, was to be related to my Italian roots very well. My dad raised me on Godfather and Goodfellas.
Oh, I like it. There you go. Oh, well, so you went to SMU and you played college golf with Bryson.
Yeah.
Talk about your experience just in college, how college golf was, US amateurs, just playing college golf.
I loved the atmosphere. It's as close to a professional atmosphere as I feel like I've gotten, other than playing on the PGA Tour in a few events, because just the aura that is winning a college golf tournament is amazing when you're there. I think it's harder to win on mini tours and Latin tour and Canadian tours than it is in college. But there's something about that learning experience of competing with guys who you see win US amateurs regularly. And I got the privilege to be around the Kelly Craft, who won a US amateur at SMU, Bryson DeChambeau, who was going to be a future US amateur. And I was coached by Josh Gregory, who won 2 national championships. And being in that kind of atmosphere just made me realize that, one, I could compete because I did compete with those kids, and two, I went from a big fish in a little pond and being from my little town to a little fish in an even bigger, much bigger pond, almost an ocean of
brine shrimp.
Hella good golfers. Yeah, man. I mean, I was a plankton getting smoked by whales. Like it was a whole different atmosphere, and I definitely credit those years to making me realize that, one, I had to get better, but two, me getting better meant I could compete at the highest level. So I loved it. And then playing with Bryson, I tell you, I've never met somebody who's so interested in just accumulating as much knowledge as possible than him. I mean, from every aspect of every part of life. It was a privilege playing with him, and I really enjoyed the conversations that we had. I mean, he broke down E = MC squared to me at the Honors Club one time, and how relativity and all this works. I mean, it was the coolest thing, and he just whipping my ass, just shooting 66, breaking down Einstein's theory. And so that was a fun experience. That was really cool.
In that moment when you were back playing with him, did you know he was going to be where he's at today? Could you see that?
I could absolutely see that. And from day one, I could see it was just a level of consistency that not many people had at that age. I mean, he would walk off the course with a frown / smirk, kind of, because he knew he beat everybody, but he knew he also didn't play that great. And it was always 70 to 68, 67, and some days it would be 65 in qualifying. And competing rounds in practice and stuff. And every single person on our team had a day where they shot 78, 75, 77, and had 4 3 putts and stuff. Bryson never had that day, ever. Even in tournaments, it was always 70, 71, 69, 70. And I think the second he won that U.S. Amateur was when he finally understood that he was going to be a game changer. I mean, he gained a lot of confidence from that. And I was actually there to watch him win, and I could see some switch to where he was just like, okay, now I'm going to be an elite player from here on out, as opposed to just a really good one.
Was he a one-length iron guy all the way from the beginning back in college, or did that kind of develop as he was nerd down on E equals MC squared?
I mean, he was pretty committed to everything that he did, honestly. I mean, he was like I said, dude, the conviction that he has with every sentence that he speaks, much less every golf shot that he hit, is second to none. I've never seen anybody believe in himself and what they say or what they think or what they do. I mean, he could be saying one thing one day and another thing the other, but both days you couldn't tell if he had any doubts about any of it. It was
right.
That's the most impressive thing about him.
Nice.
I think it's really neat to be curious in golf, in the game of golf, and curious about, everything, because there's so many different ways to play the game. And there's so many different swings that you see on tour, but so long as y'all get to square at impact, that's really the moment of truth. So I mean, curiosity in golf, I think, is a positive if that golfer can,
unless you find yourself buying late night infomercials all the time.
No, is that a shot at Ricky Fowler? I don't know, but
the shot at all those the hammer driver commercials you see.
I was about to say I have a group text. Can y'all hear me? Yep. I'm so sorry about this.
All good. Don't worry, Sam. Yeah, hey, it happens. It's all about radio.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're good. Okay, so better? Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Where do we leave off?
We were talking about late night infomercials and the hammer driver.
Hammer.
Wow. Yeah, I'm nowhere near as smart as Bryson, but I have that same curiosity bug. I'm always itching to look at something from a different angle, but you got to do it the right way, or you find yourself with a bag full of weird clubs that nobody's ever heard of and that aren't legal, and buying the hammer driver.
Exactly. Or just buying the stack and tilt infomercials and just starting the snap hooks and big old pushes and stuff.
Stack and tilt. I'm on record saying stack and tilt ruined my golf game for at least 2 years.
I tell you what, it's a good feeling when you're doing it, but then you get out in a tournament or competition and it just it stacks, tilts, and falls over every single time. I mean,
I can't tell you how many drives I topped after that. And you're right, Sam. It did feel great when you kind of got on the range, and the idea behind stack and tilt, I really enjoyed. But I mean, I was searching for my own game at that time, and I tried it. But in any event, that was 10 years ago, and now I have a shoulder impingement that I deal with. But enough about me. Sam, I don't know if you know this. You are now our third lefty in a row on the Rough Fairways podcast. So we started off with Matt Ryan, then it was Alex Beach, and then now it's Same Fidone.
The Fidone.
To round out the lefties. And my host Mike is a fellow lefty, so right. I might just take off my disconnect my microphone and have the lefties have it, because I'm outnumbered here.
We're going to rename the podcast The Left Rough.
Left Rough.
That's the left. Incidentally, that's my miss too, so that works out.
Hey, mine too. Yeah, what was it like growing up being a lefty? Did you get your right-handed set of clubs as a kid and have to figure out that you're left-handed like I did?
Thank God I didn't. I hate hearing that story from people. It makes me so like, How lost did you feel just hitting it like weaker than everybody?
Nah, well, I mean, I was real young. I got the obligatory Fisher-Price Classic Club, box set.
That away.
And
Yeah.
What's funny is that, I should have known better. I did the same thing to my son, who did like everything right-handed, but I don't know if it was because of watching me or what, but he would start swinging them left-handed. And so he doesn't golf much, but he plays golf left-handed. When he plays baseball, he bats right-handed, or left-handed, but he does everything else right-handed. But yeah, I mean, for me growing up, it was kind of a blessing and a curse. There's a lot of clubs I didn't have access to, but it was probably good because I would have been even more broke of a college student than I was, because I would have bought them all.
Are you lefty all the way around?
All the way around. I am a total Neanderthal on the right side.
Thank gosh. Dude,
are you not, Sam?
The amount of times. No, I'm all the way around lefty, but a lot of people aren't. Yeah. I am. I right left-handed, batted left-handed, played soccer, kicked left-footed. I was all the way around.
Are you kick left
it's crazy
foot?
How many people aren't? Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm not all the way.
I played kicker in middle school.
I kick right foot, but I don't do much kicking, so I guess I never really noticed that was a thing.
Does the toilet flush counterclockwise in your house, Sam? I mean,
it does not, but I wouldn't mind if it did.
Did you get really good at spotting left-handed people because you notice the things that only lefties do, like the belt buckles upside down because you put your belt on the other way? And I can always tell. Well, because I put my belt, when I put my belt on, I go around the right side, come around the back of the left side.
I haven't even thought of it. I do the same thing.
Right. But right-handers normally put it through the left side and come around the right side. And so when they make
I go lefty.
Oh, so you're not all the way, man.
So I'm a trader as well.
But yeah, so that's something that took me a long time to notice, because people, when they make unidirectional belt buckles, I was always have, my Nike shoe should be upside down or whatever.
Well, do you cut your steak with your left hand? Do you cut your steak with your left hand?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my mom told me that everybody's born right-handed and only gifted people overcome the deformity.
That's a nice way to say that we're the deformed ones, which is okay. Sam, that's just the best way to say it.
Here's an emotional question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
Does Texas have the best barbecue?
I tell you what, I've been getting into barbecue actually a lot. I've been cooking a ton.
Okay.
And I just started doing it over COVID. And I'm learning all the ways that you can barbecue it up. I'm not going to be too prideful to say that I don't know if we do.
Ooh.
I think we have the best brisket. I think Texas has the best brisket.
Okay.
I think St. Louis has the best ribs, and I think Carolina has the best pork.
I can agree with that. I grew up in St. Louis, so there's
Louis.
The ribs there, man. Yeah.
So Sam,
I think California, I think they have some good ones out there. I think California has some really good barbecue out there. They have a little more Asian twist to a few of their rubs and recipes.
Right.
That I think that's going to be on the forefront of barbecues. But I think Texas has the best brisket. I'll put that up against anything.
There it is. Well, congrats on your first cut at the on tour, Sam. You got T44 at the Valero Texas Open.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, talk about and you Monday Q'd in there. Let's go through that whole week. Tell us kind of like how you felt about your game going into the Monday Q, how hard Monday Qs are in itself, and just kind of talk about that whole week.
So I actually Monday qualified for the Houston Open a few months earlier, and I missed a cut there, albeit it was the hardest golf course I might have ever played. Maybe it was up there. I mean, that new Memorial Park it's tough as nails, and in fact, I think it's almost too tough, and guys didn't like it. But so I gained a lot of experience from Mondaying into that, because the year prior, I had status on Korn Ferry, and I tried to get Monday into the Houston Open there. And I actually missed by, I don't know, I didn't do great. I missed by a few, but I looked at the guys that made it, and it was 5 under par that made it there. And all I thought was, shooting 5 under par is not crazy hard. And everybody that tells you have to go shoot 63 in a Monday just to get through they're just not right, because there's a Monday every week. Like, there are going to be some where 8 or 10 under gets through, like in the Corn Ferry one in Vegas this week, but that's not always the case. And honestly, the best players in the world who Monday into stuff, like a Patrick Reed, he went every single week to try to Monday, and he only did it 6 or 8 times. And that guy's, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame probably. So what I thought was, if I'm realistic, all I have to do is just go out there, shoot the most solid number I can. And the most solid number consists of no bogeys, no double bogeys, which means don't fire at pins with 5 irons, because you don't have to, and just birdie the par 5s. And so that's what I did the next year at the Houston Open qualifier, and it got me into a playoff, and I got in. And so going into this Monday, knowing Comanche Trace, I thought the same thing. I was like, this golf course is going to be somewhat fast. It's probably going to be windy. So all I got to do is go out there and just play solid. And that's what I did. I literally played well. To shoot 66, I played well, obviously. But it wasn't like what everybody kind of tries to tell you. Oh, you have to shoot 63 to get into a Monday and do all that. So I was pretty confident going into that week. So confident that, one, it was my birthday. Also, the day that I Mondayed in was my birthday. So I was already feeling good about it. 2, I actually packed my staff bag, and I packed my full week's like clothes, which I never do. I always just pack like a ragtag bunch, because I don't want to have the expectation for some reason. But this week I just felt really good about it. And
You knew it.
It was weird, but I did. I even had a buddy who sent me a text that he sent out Sunday to 2 other buddies, and he said he's going to Monday into this and make the cut. And it was just crazy. It was one of those times. I'm sure we've all had them, but it was just one of those times where everything kind of just lined up. And going into the week, honestly, the first like 8 holes in my practice round, the first round I played with Harry Higgs, who I played with in college. I played with Kelly Kraft, who I didn't play with, but I'd played with him before, and he's a Dallas guy, SMU guy. And we're playing a money match, and on the first hole, which is one of the hardest holes on the golf course, I hit 7 iron to tap in for birdie to go 1 up in the money game. And I was just like, I think this is going to be a decent week. And it turned out I made an 8-footer to make the cut on the number, and went out on the weekend and shot under par final 2 rounds. But like I've told everybody else, the best feeling in the world that I took away from that week was all of it could have been better, which is the best possible thing in golf, in my opinion. If you can find what you can do better, that's all you need to do, and then just get better at it. And that's what I took from that week. So that was the coolest part about it, honestly, was walking out of there thinking I can compete with these guys. And that was kind of the first feeling I've ever had like that, because you talk to guys who've played on tour for a long time, and all they talk about is how tough it is and how hard, how good you have to be to win, and this and that. And you never really, it's almost like, I don't know. It seems like you won't get there almost, but then when you get there and then you can compete, and then you do compete, it's like, okay, this isn't the hardest thing in the world. So that was pretty cool.
And how cool was it in front of your family, your home state? Did you feel any added pressure that it was in Texas?
Absolutely not. And a lot of that was on a somber note, but a meaningful one. My dad was actually diagnosed with multiple myeloma last year, which is a cellular dysplasia. It's almost like a cancer. You can consider it a cancer. And it's not great, not the worst thing ever, but not great. So he actually had to spend the last half of last year of 2020 in the last 2 months in a hospital, getting in full quarantine, couldn't be around anybody but my mom. So he and my mom actually were both in the hospital by themselves, only in contact with doctors and nurses. So he was, getting chemos and treatments and stuff. So he got to come out, and he actually walked all 18 holes both days in a row and did amazing. And so my mom also got to come out. So she was just, that was probably the coolest part about it. And my girlfriend of 2 years, she came out and supported me and hung out with my parents. But that was cool to see my dad, because he'd been through hell and back, and to see him back and smiling and having a great time and shooting the shit with all my buddies who came and supported me was awesome. That was probably another awesome takeaway from it.
That would be a highlight for me for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool. No added pressure though, almost less pressure because of stuff like that, you know.
Sure. Right. You take
it's
that, like you feed off of it.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's like that. Like sitting in a hospital would be way worse for 2 months than trying to make a putt to make the cut, you know. Like, so I was just like, look, there are much bigger things in the world that could be going on. You're chasing a little white ball, so let's go have fun with it. That's kind of the attitude I took.
Great perspective. Did your folks get you into golf?
Oh yeah. My dad was he was a tennis player for a long time, and then got into golf late in his college years and loved it. So I grew up near a golf course in Lufkin. It used to be one of the best golf courses in Texas. I believe we were number one for a few years. So I was raised on a pretty sweet golf course that kind of lost its luster as I got older. But I was exposed to a lot of good players around my area, and my dad was one of them, and he made me work my butt off. I mean, I wouldn't say tough on me. He was very loving, but he also taught me how to work. And my mom would wake me up at 4 a.m. and we'd drive to Tyler, Texas, or Houston, Texas, when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. We'd go play a tournament, and she'd drive me back home. So it was a whole family affair for a while. My brother and sister were much older than me, so they were already out of the house. So my parents had nothing, or my mom was just waiting to get me to freaking tournaments.
Were you play any other sports as a kid?
I played baseball, which I loved, until in one night I got 2 black eyes in the same night. So I was like, I'm cashed on baseball. And then I played football, but I'm from Lufkin, where a lot of really good football players come out of, like Des Bryant, Kiki Kuti, Reggie McNeil, Jaworski Lane, like all these stud football players. And I learned real quick that's not for a 5'8", 150-pound kid, and who's also slow. So get out of that one. And I loved soccer. Soccer was probably my favorite sport outside of golf. But once again, just the limited speed really got me. So golf was kind of my sport that I could compete with every kid of every size, and I did. And honestly, what I loved more and more about it the older I got, from like 8 to 10 to 12, and you know, those years when you're kind of figuring out what sport is your favorite. I love the golf got me away from the house and my parents and you know, rules, and got me out doing playing sports with my buddies, to the point where, like, we'd bring a football out on the golf course while playing. We'd throw a football and we'd mess around and we'd compete. And that's how I got really competitive, was doing stuff like that and just messing around. And that's kind of where I got my competitive edge. And then I realized that golf was definitely a sport where I could compete much better than any of these other ones that I was exposed to. So that's kind of how I fell in love with it.
When did you know you were good at golf?
Man, I still don't think I'm that good at golf. I mean, just I know I know I was good when I could beat my buddies. Mm-hmm. But I would say that there are steps where I think I'm better.
But what
Like
did that mean, Sam? Like you say you knew you could beat your buddies. Like were you killing them? Like was there a huge difference if from an innocent bystander looking at two guys hitting the balls on the range, they see you and your buddies and they're like, "Oh yeah, the left-hander's he's going to just be the better player." Like what does that mean to you as far as like you knew you could just were you just killing your buddies?
I got to a point. So I was actually in my little town. There's one kid on my team who was always way better than me. His name's Will Griffin. He played at Texas. He's a stud, and he was always the stud, like throughout high school and everything. And it was almost like, can I beat Will? Actually, and we had another kid up the street from Diboll, Texas. His name's Wes McClain. Another great kid. Played at Houston. Played into he actually Mondayed into the Valero and Texas Open as well. He did it a couple years ago. And so they were both a little older than me. So those were like the two kids that I had to beat. And I never really beat them until junior year of high school. Because I got a new swing coach and I really started putting a lot of work in. And there was a bus ride coming back from a tournament, and our coach would talk a lot. Our high school coach would talk a lot of smack to us, and we were talking about how the ball sounds off of Adam Scott's club face because we were watching the tournament before we got on the bus, and coach goes, "Yeah, it sounds a lot like Sam's." And Will looked at me with like this, "That's normally a Will statement." And I was just like, "Did he just say that?" And I was like, maybe I'm decent. And then I won the next week. And that was when I kind of was like, okay, I can compete here. I always have the fight to compete, but it's the belief that I always have struggled with. And that was kind of when I gained a little belief. And then there were moments throughout my career where I did that a little more and a little more and a little more. Like in my professional career, I remember I had a shot in Guatemala to make the cut on the number, which would have been my first cut out of my first 5 events on the Latin American tour. And I'd played this course before. It was a Pete Dye course on a volcano. So just imagine that. And I chipped in for eagle on my last hole to make the cut by 1. And I ended up finishing 13th that week. And I left that tournament thinking, okay, I can play this at this level, and I can beat these guys and all this stuff. And then I won the Latin Tour event the next week in Honduras. So it's like these little steps where I just believe a little more. I tend to kind of do something really good right after because I'm like, okay, I'm gaining a little more belief. But I've never been that kid that from day one just had the swagger about him that you knew this kid's going to be good, because I've seen those kids and that is not me. At all.
So past 10 years, as you've gotten better, what has gotten better? Has it been your swing? Has it been course management, or have you improved, putting? Like what's gotten better for you?
I'd say the biggest improvement, because there have been obviously technical improvements, but kind of like what I was saying about the belief, a lot of it was mental for me, and it still is. But I've done a lot of like, I'm a learner. I love learning, so I do a lot of like independent research, or I talk to a lot of people who are in these fields and in the mental game fields, or even in swing, like swing coaches and stuff. I like talking to them a lot and asking them a lot of questions. And the mental side of the game has definitely been my biggest leap in improvement, because I used to be, I wouldn't say a mental midget, but it was always a tough task for me to close out tournaments or close out rounds, or make the cut when I have to and all that. And I think that's where I've made the biggest strides. Now, I used to not be a great driver of the golf ball, and I think I've made a big stride in hitting more fairways. I think that's been probably the biggest technical improvement. But as for what I think has propelled me to a higher level, it's definitely my mental game and how I handle expectation and forward thinking and anticipatory thinking and all that stuff.
It seems like those little sayings or just that one word really, really, strike you into the positive zone where you hear that, oh, that sounded like, Adam Scott's sounds like Sam's club
Yeah.
face. And it just takes that one little thing to go, oh, you know what, I can actually do that. And because obviously there's so much talent in golf and on tour, on any tour really. But I think what really does lack in a lot of guys that can and cannot make it is the belief in themselves, because they know that they're good enough to play the game, but then it's that super, super fine line of really believing it and having that moxie to just go out and prove that you do believe it.
And what's funny is that's what it looks like. That's what I always thought you wanted to have, was exactly like you said, like moxie. Like when you saw Tiger strutting down the 18th fairway, any tournament he was winning, it looked like he was walking on clouds. Like this guy just looked like he could step on you if you wanted to, or just do whatever he wanted. He just didn't look unstoppable. But what it is, and what I've learned, is it's literally just continuously playing the same golf that you would at home, which is, that sounds so cliche, but it's so true. It couldn't be any more true. It's just like, all you're still doing is just hitting that fairway, and then you're hitting that green.
Yeah,
it's like baseball. Just play catch with your dad. When you're pitching, you're just playing
exactly. Catch. Yeah, there's no, but the problem is in the grand scheme of things, and as athletes, because we all want to improve all the time, there will always be the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and on the PGA Tour, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas are hundreds of thousands of dollars, or major wins, or whatever your goal is. That's so you apply these expectations, and then you don't meet them, or you do meet them, and then you have to deal with that. And that's always something that I've had to learn to take step by step. And the moxie, because I've had people be like, oh, you're such a nice guy, but you're so competitive on the golf course. And it's like, because all I'm trying to do is get into my best state where I just hit the fairway, hit the green, and then make the putt. That's all I want to do. I don't want to look good doing it. I don't want to do anything. That's all I want to do.
Right.
Old golf psychology, process versus results.
Absolutely, man. And for everybody that tells any kid, because I had a lot of people tell me I don't hit it long enough, or this and that. And it's just like, I've played with plenty of guys who have made a very good living and a very happy, they've lived very happy lives, who one didn't hit it long, or two didn't putt it good enough, or whatever, because they just consistently just hit the ball well and just hit it on a lot of greens and just made a lot of putts, made their way to the PGA Tour, and had success doing the same thing that they did since they were kids, just had fun playing and just played the game instead of trying to bomb it or trying to do any, just be yourself and just go out there and play the game that you love.
It reminds me of my favorite golf quote from Kevin Kisner, that reporter that asked him, so when you go out every week, you can win, right? And he's like, no, not necessarily. She goes, well, why do you go every week? Well, they give a lot of money out for 20th place.
Dude, for real. Like, it's if you were to I love the questions where, like, if you were to get 4 under today, would you take it, or would you go and play or stuff? It's like, if you were to give me 20th place every week on the PGA Tour right now, sign me in. I'm in. I'm 100% in, because I'm playing golf on golf courses that are going to be in the best shape that those golf courses will be any other point in the year. Yeah, get me in that one, because I love golf. I love good golf courses, and I don't mind getting paid to go play them.
Right.
Like, it's like this little course we're playing in Brownwood now. Privileged to play. Fun little golf course. It's nothing special, but it's fun, and I get to go compete for a check on it. Hell yeah, I'm in.
So, speaking of a good golf course and good golf, did you enjoy the Masters?
I loved, man, watching it this time versus watching it in what was it, November, was a whole different game. I mean, watching it in November was just, it didn't have the luster. It right. just, the course didn't look like Augusta, it didn't play like it, it didn't feel like it. But this one was just absolute Augusta National. I mean, that second day, those greens were rocks and so fast. So that was awesome to watch. And I love Hideki. He's one of my favorite golfers to watch. So it was a pleasure watching him win.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it outside of Tiger winning, a couple years ago. I can't think of a better Masters because I loved pulling for Hideki because of what all that meant. But at the same time, too, I'm like, oh man, look at Zalatoris, like it's the first time ever, and he's just charging up the board. And there were so many good stories to root for.
Absolutely. I mean, and what's cool is, once again, to relate it, I grew up playing golf against Zalatoris. Like, I remember playing a U.S. Junior Amateur qualifier with the kid when he was 12 years old or maybe 13, and he had already played it in 3 U.S. Junior Amateurs before that. And wow. So I was just like, this kid is a stud. And I'd played with him in junior golf, so it was really cool to watch him compete. I played with Corey Connors on Latin Tour, so it was really cool to watch him compete. And it was from a personal aspect, it was really cool as well, because it was just like, man, these kids are good kids. I've known them for a long time, since I was a kid, and that was fun to watch too. And Ollie Osborne from SMU made it as well, so that was cool.
And Will just had the best attitude. He's like, I might just be dumb enough to win. I mean, and literally. He was even playing along with the whole Happy Gilmore Caddy thing. He was tweeting back at Adam Sandler. I mean, that guy, he was just loving every minute of it.
And that's what I love about guys like him, because like being out at the Valero was awesome, but just, it's not that the guys aren't like good dudes, because they're all good dudes and they get a lot of attention, but they just don't seem like they're having the best time of their life. And it's not that they have to, because it's their job, and that's, they're all solidified and been there for 15, 20 years. But they just don't look like that into it anymore. And that was what was so refreshing to watch Zalatoris in on it. Like Corey hit a shot and was like, be good. And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard Corey say that. Like, Corey, he's into it right now. That's awesome, because he's normally a super monotone kid. But it was cool to see young kids come up and just whoop some ass, honestly. And Hideki, I mean, his caddy bowing 14 times throughout the tournament was just so transcending. Chills, real chills. I saw a tweet that said chills, and I was just like, yeah, I level with that. That was cool.
That has to be top, cool. 3 or 5 master moment kind of thing for me. That was so awesome.
That's my lasting image of this year's Masters. I mean, yeah, that bow was just, and it's weird how CBS didn't kind of like get it until like the end of the ceremony type of deal. And it was when Nance was saying, Hideki wins the Masters, but
yeah, that was a little weird to me. It seemed a little bit more of a normal tournament after he made the putt. Like, he just walked off. They had the little Butler cabin thing, but then coverage was pretty much over. And maybe that's because it was post-COVID and now not as many fans. I don't know what, but yeah, right after he made the last putt, it didn't seem like a normal Masters post round ceremony.
It did. It seemed rushed or something. Like it wasn't. I wasn't paying too much attention after that, because I was actually cooking a brisket and a pork butt for 15 people who were at my house.
Priorities.
So
well done. Well done.
I was chopping that up, and but yeah, that was probably one of the. You know what? I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, that was maybe my favorite Masters.
There you go.
Other than Tiger. Any Tiger one's just really pure, honestly. But
yeah,
excluding those.
So Sam, you're no stranger to winning. You have a lot of wins on the APT tour, and a very successful player, good pedigree at SMU. So what's it going to take for you to win on Korn Ferry Tour level, PGA Tour level?
I think winning out there is not that this, whatever I'll say. I don't think winning's going to be the issue. I think because winning's tough. It is tough. But once again, I feel like I am well equipped enough mentally to win. And maybe that's what propels me to win, because it dang sure ain't it's not my talent. It's my freaking grit and my putting that get me to win. I mean, at the end of the day, that looking back at every win, it's just all I think about are the putts that I made. And it's all about Q school for me. I just haven't been incredibly successful in Q school. And that's where I think I've had the toughest time, once again, mentally getting through that. But what I've experienced and what I've kind of surmised over my years when I do a lot of self-reflection is I almost dread Q school. Like it's like finals, right? It's like who wants to take finals in college? It's never something that you want to do because frankly, why should it matter that much if I've already proven myself, in my opinion, throughout the year competitively. And at the end of the day, our sport requires you to play at that time of year when you're at my level. So what I've done the last couple of years is actually just looked forward to Q school and everything from picking out golf courses that I like, because there are golf courses that I just don't love, that like in Dallas, Lantana is one of the sites, and I play Lantana decently, but I just don't like the golf course very much. So I'm not going to go play there. I'm going to go play like second stage in Dothan, which is the hardest site probably, but it's a sick Robert Trent Jones golf course, which I love. So I want to look forward to playing all these tournaments instead of being like, oh, I got Q school coming up and this. But I think the second, when you give me starts, I've shown and I feel like I can get better every single time. Like my first PGA Tour event was Canadian Open, and I missed the cut by 6. I missed the cut in the Houston Open by like 4 or 5, and I made the cut on the number here at the Valero. So, and same thing with Adams Tour. I mean, same thing with Latin Tour. You know, it's been the same way for every tournament and every tour I've played. You know, I haven't started off great, but I've learned how to compete, and that's what I think I can, and I know I can do that. I just need to start. So that comes with getting through Q school or Monday qualifying and do a bunch of stuff, which I'm going to be doing a lot more Monday qualifiers now for the PGA Tour. But barring you know something wild going on there, I'm just going to go at the end of the year and be ready for Q school and go whoop some butt.
Attaboy, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, looking back at 2020 at the Bravado Wireless Real Okie Championship, I mean, 68, 63, 69, 62.
Yeah, man, that was
it's pretty okay.
That's
that's decent
is what that is.
That's
making
what'd
bombs.
You feel that week? Do you remember that week at all? Like what your game felt like that week? I'm sure golf felt super, super easy.
Y'all want to hear a good one? So 3 weeks before that, I have so Bettinardi's like my sole like real sponsor. I love, like, they've been amazing to me, and they've made me a lot of really sick, like those, you know, tour putters. And my truck got busted into 3 weeks before that tournament, and all my putters got stolen. So like my gamer got stolen, my side gamer got stolen, and then some other play around putters got stolen. And so I was on struggle bus looking for a putter to putt with for that week, and they expressed me a mallet head that I didn't know if I loved it. It didn't look great, it didn't look bad, but it just wasn't my thing. And at the tournament, in my practice round, I actually I'm riding in a golf cart with my girlfriend, and one of my buddies is on the back, and I'm bidding on my putters. 3 weeks later, I'm bidding on my putters on eBay, trying to buy them back. And out of nowhere,
like your actual stolen putters, or you found replacements?
My actual stolen putters. And the reason I know that they were my stolen putters was the insignias on them. Yeah, they're one of ones. All of them are, because they got the Texas flag on the bottom that Bettinardi puts on there. So what happened is on my 9th hole in the practice round, I'm at a pretty significant number bidding for them, trying to buy them back. And the bidding had an hour left, and it just ended out of nowhere. And so what the detective, who's still, I think, on this case, called me and said, well, they probably got word that they're your putters. Well, literally the second the bidding ended, I had 4 calls from people from Arkansas to Maine to California of, hey, I don't know if you know, but I have a buddy who's bidding on your putters on eBay right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, my phone was blowing up. And so I was just like, what? So I can't do this practice round anymore. I'm done. I need a beer. So I get some White Claws and I just go drive the back 9 with my girlfriend and bitch to her about how ridiculous it is. I can't get my putters back, how the cops are just not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. And then the putter that I ended up not loving ended up being the putter that I just made it rain with all week. I mean, I shot 28 on my front 9 in the final round.
Wow.
Just getting buckets from everywhere. So it was a pretty good experience. And then that same putter, I Mondayed into the Houston Open with it, and I Mondayed into the Valero with it too. So that's my gamer now. So yeah, that was a weird week, honestly. That was probably one of the weirder weeks I've had. I didn't think anything, honestly. I just played 9 holes of the golf course, drove the back 9, and then went out and shot 68 and was like, all right, I think I like this golf course. And then shot 63 in the next round, and I was like, yeah, I got this one. This is definitely my kind of golf course.
Did you ever get any of the putters back?
Not one. But 2 of the 4 I found again on eBay, and I contacted the seller a million times that was selling them originally, and I got nothing back. Shocker. And
right.
But 2 of them I found again from a different seller, and I contacted him, and I was like, hey man, these are my putters. Where'd you get them? Can you let me know? And they were like stock putters, but they were just brushed in black, because they're normally gray, and they were just brushed in black. That was the only special thing to them. And he was like, yeah, dude, I'll send them back to you free of charge or whatever. And I saw what he paid, like $350 for my putters. And I was just like, just keep them, man. I probably won't even use them. So just you keep those and have a good time with them. Like, thanks. Bettinardi's going to love seeing it. And those are the only 2, but the other 2 I haven't seen since. And that sucks, because one of them I won on Canada with, and that was probably one of the best putting performances of my life. So
yeah, you lose that sentimental value to it.
Yeah. And it was crazy is actually I play a lot of golf with Stephen Bowditch, who won twice on tour. Really good player. Hell of a guy too. Just one of my favorite people in the world. He 2 weeks after I got my putter stolen, he was actually at a Corn Ferry event playing, and his favorite irons in the world that he won twice with, they're the same set of irons from 9 years ago. He got them reshafted at a Corn Ferry event, came back. The heads were just sitting in a box when he left. They came back, that the box was gone and never to be seen again. Those were like he'd won like, I don't know, $9 or $10 million with those things, and they're gone forever. So I was a little humbled in that experience, because he goes, they're like your putters. And I was like, buddy, they're not like my putters. Get out of here. You play 2 President's Cups with those things. Get out of here.
I've had a few things stolen, but I only made $9 or $10 with them, so I don't have the same attachment.
Maybe a Coke or 2, right? Like maybe playing buddies for Gatorade.
Yeah, me and my buddy always play. We're pretty evenly matched. I'm a few strokes better than him on handicap, but we always do score plus putts minus fairways minus greens for like a total score, and that usually evens things out. And we'll always play for like cookies and a Gatorade at the end.
Wait, say that again.
So we do score plus putts minus fairways and greens.
I might start doing that with people. That sounds fun.
So it's fun because I mean he's a better putter than I am, but I'm better tee to green than he is, so it kind of evens things out because he'll beat me by 3, 4, 5 putts, and then I'll have him by a couple fairways, couple greens, and then so it's fun because it really shows you too where your weaknesses are and why you lost something too.
That's a good idea. That would be a good thing to do with like junior golfers and stuff too.
Yeah.
For the kiddos.
I like, yeah.
I'll
always for the kids.
What's your Sam? What's your shot shape?
I'd say right now, man, I'd say maybe a draw. I don't know. I like to just hit it straight and work it if I have to, kind of thing. I know that sounds. Yeah. I'd say overall, I swing it draw.
Okay.
Especially off the tee. I try to straighten it out, but it's definitely draw. Irons, draw. Struggling with the wedges right now. A little cutty with the wedges though. Don't like that. Definitely like drawing wedges. I've started hitting it a lot higher with my irons. That's something I've been working towards. So I'm pretty happy to see that.
Are you a strict routine kind of guy during tournament weeks? Show up.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
I like certain things, certain weeks. Like some weeks I want to get to the course early and hit some putts for a while or hit some chips for a while because I'm working on something. I do like chipping a little before because I like just grabbing one ball and kind of taking my time and then chipping and then walking to get the ball and then going all around the green because you kind of get in a good rhythm doing that. But I don't want to be there 10 minutes before my tee time. But nonetheless, I've played really well being there 10 minutes before my tee time. So I think it's tough to be on a routine. If something goes wrong, then sometimes you might freak out. But if you don't freak out, as long as you're in your routine guy, then you're good. But if I set myself up for that, I'm definitely gonna get a little wary if I'm not, there on time or something. And I try not to be. I try to let things just come as they come and just deal with it.
Are you a stats guy?
I mean, to be honest, I wish I was, because kind of like Mike said, like things like his game are great ways to, kind of keep up with what you need to do. But I've been playing for so long that it's not like I come out of tournaments being like, like completely wrong as to what I needed to improve on. It's like, I know from 95 yards, if I miss a green, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do that. And I enjoy stats. Like it was fun being out there on the tour and looking at, my strokes gained stats and stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm, some guys just go super deep into that. And once again, all I want to do is hit the ball in the fairway and hit it on the green. So I try to make it as simple as possible when it comes to that, because when it comes to my swing, I'm all over the place. Like I'm a thinker when it comes to the golf swing. So I try to mitigate everything else.
You're the antithesis of Bryson.
I'd agree with that. I would compete with him, and I don't know a lot about the golf swing. I know a lot about my golf swing, and I would compete with him in that aspect. But when it comes to breaking down my stats and talking about, I don't know, whatever the grade slope of greens and aim pointing and vectoring, and I'm out, bro.
This is a 70% 2 o'clock swing.
Yeah, I, all of that, like, yeah, like I can't. Maybe I should. I don't know, because he's pretty damn good.
Sam, do you subscribe that golf in its whole has a distance problem?
Has a distance problem?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's saying the ball's going too far and we need to scale it back down. The RNA and the USGA are kind of starting with all that stuff. Nothing's been, done yet, but everybody's saying the ball's going too far.
I know. And
so do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that's also being propelled by the the old school guys saying that same message. Because in my day, I played the Balata ball and Persimmon Woods, and it's like, well, your bunkers weren't 14 feet deep, and your greens didn't roll 14s. So
you guys also smoked a carton and ate cheeseburgers. I mean, it's just a different game.
And the 25th player in the world at the time was a lawyer, on the side. So I think I'm a big free market guy. So I think the field is going to be the level that it needs to be for the purse that's being, supplied. So right. you give $1 million to the winner. A lot of really good golfers are going to show up, and the ball might go far, but that doesn't matter because golf's not a game of ball going too far, too short, or whatever. It's a game of beating the golf course and beating it better than anybody else.
I mean, if anything showed a way to guard distance, it was watching the Masters. I mean, that course was really tough.
Absolutely. Well, and everybody knows that. And that's my favorite thing in the world. It's not like that's a big shock to people when they get out there. It's like these guys are the best players in the world, and they've been preparing for this golf course for months.
Yeah.
Dude, like I was talking to pros at the Valero because Phil went and played, and all they were talking about is how many different shots Phil was trying around the greens to simulate what he's going to do next week. And that speaks to how hard these guys are working just for that golf course. And I wouldn't say it whooped their ass, but it did a pretty good job those first couple of days, and then that rain came and softened it up. But
yep. That's what I love about golf is nobody had Hideki in their radar, and everybody had all of your perennials, and he just came out of nowhere. Golf is just, you can throw all the favorite stats that he's leading strokes gain from tee to green and approach shot and strokes gain putting, but it's the guys that it's as simple as it is. It's the guy that plays the best that week will win. And it's so tough to pick who that guy is going to be.
Which, I mean, and when you look at the betting odds, that's what the betting odds, reflect too. And what's funny is it's always the same guy up there every week. And it's like, he's like Dustin Johnson. He's the number one player in the world. He's won all these times. He's a defending champion and all this. You're playing when you're on the PGA Tour, you're playing 20 to 27 weeks a year. So you're going to have a bad week. And if that bad week falls on the week of the Masters, welcome to golf.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's always going to be. I promise you, he's probably going to miss another cut there in his career. And he's probably going to win it again. So that is, I agree with you, Eddie. Like, that is my favorite thing in the world about golf is you just never know who's going to take home the trophy at every level. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So 30 years from now, who is your honorary starters at the Masters when we're old?
Honorary starters at the Masters? Do they have to be golfers?
Wow. Ooh. I guess if you're running the tournament, they don't have to be. But
that's a great point, Sam. We haven't been asked that before. I like that. Do they have to be golfers?
Yeah, who replaces Jack and Gary, and when we're old?
I mean, obviously Tiger, but Tiger's going to be the first in a wheelchair. So I think that guy is probably not going to show up because he doesn't want to be seen on camera in a wheelchair. So I'm going to have to go. I would love to see some DJ when he's old, because that would be great, because he's just a stud as is now, and he'd just be funny to give a speech when he's older or something. I would love to see Spieth, because the kid's going to have jitters on the first tee, and Greller's going to have to be there. And I'm going to have to give my boy Harry Higgs a shout out.
Yeah.
that button's going to be real low, because when you're 80, you don't care anymore.
He's not going to wear a shirt, Sam. Let's be honest. He's just, it's going to be all the way unbuttoned. It's going to be like a Hawaiian button up that just shows his gut and everything. I'm actually really glad that you brought Higgs up, because I wanted to talk about when you guys went up against each other, when you captained the Cozumel Cup in 2018. For the listeners who don't know what the Cozumel Cup is, it's a Ryder Cup style match between the PGA Mackenzie in Canada versus PGA Tour Latino. Talk about captaining your team, I know you went 3-0 that week. I think Higgs went 3-0 that week. You guys did lose, but just talk about that week and share some stories.
We had a young team. That was probably the biggest, most glaring difference. Is we had, like, I knew all the guys on their team. They were all my age or older, and all the kids on my team were fresh out of college, like super fresh out of college. So I had all these little sweethearts who haven't seen the world, and I had all this ragtag bunch who I'm playing against from the Latin tour, who I've known, because I played that tour for years. And then leading the squad, Jazz Harry, who I played plenty of golf against. My favorite thing for that week, though, is I was just giving Harry hell all week about playing him in the singles, and he didn't want any. He didn't want any of me in the singles, and so I was so devastated because that's all I wanted all week was to play my boy, and he didn't give it to me, and that was my like biggest takeaway from the week. I was like, Harry, and you're gonna go on PGA Tour, and like you're not gonna let me have the credit of saying I beat you or something like.
And did you guys set the
that
matches
was
up?
such a fun.
Because you guys set the matches up, right?
We did set the matches up, but what we did, it was like a blind setup. So we would do is exactly. So like the first day was, I don't remember exactly. I think it was maybe alternate shot. And we had our team set, but they went first on who they wanted to tee off first. So, and it was like a total surprise.
Okay.
So like in the singles match, I was like, Harry, when are we going? That was the first thing I said. I said, when are we teeing it, Harry? And he was like, I'm not going to tell you. And I was like, screw this. I'm going off second. See if Harry's going to come with me.
Yeah.
And he ended up going off. He was like one of the last guys. So I was just like, eh. But that was such a fun week, dude. It was fun to just compete with a guy on your team, and be able to kind of give the other guys some shit, because I love talking smack on the golf course. It's so fun. And I'm not bashful about it. So I had a good time talking smack to some guys when I would never do that in real tournaments. But that's probably my favorite part about it. It was definitely the most fun competitive atmosphere I've been in.
What's fair game for kind of trash talking, and what's off limits?
Just don't talk about my putting, because that's my court. I was telling somebody that the other day. Everything else, I'm fair game, because I self-deprecate with the best of them. So I take the Eminem approach, where like I'm going to throw out all of my imperfections right in your face real quick, so you're going to struggle with coming at me and stuff. But my favorite's pushing my boys' buttons and then executing. I just love talking up a shot, and just, hey, y'all shut the hell up, watch this, and hit it to 3 feet and look at everybody with a grin. Everybody's flipping me off or something. So that's always my favorite. But I always get a little riled up when people talk about me not being a good putter. It's probably what's made me a good putter, honestly. It's people trashing my putting.
I like this, the memory of you chatting with Nick Watney when you were younger. Do you remember what he specifically told you?
Oh my gosh, man.
At the Byron?
That was a long time ago. At the Byron Nelson, with my best friend, walking up the 17th. I don't remember what he said. I was like, I asked him, I was like, how do you like the course? He asked me where I'm from. That was the biggest thing I remember. And what's funny is I instantly became a fan.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know who Nick Watney was. I was like 9 or 10 years old, maybe a little older. I don't exactly remember, but I just remember becoming the biggest fan of Nick Watney right after that. And that was when he went on a pretty good streak too. He was starting to come up big time. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I every single kid I see on the golf course who comes out to watch, I always throw him a ball and say what's up and give him that or something, because he did that for me. And a couple years later, I hit right by him at the Canadian Open, and he and I, we talked for a hot second about I was sitting close to like the ropes on the range, and I almost hit the rope, and he's like, "You're gonna hit that rope." I was like, it's okay. I'll crack through it. I swing it so fast or something. I just because I don't hit it very far, and that was obvious. So I was just making a joke, and he loved that. And then, he's like, hey, good luck. But I just thought, a cool little roundabout way. But that was my biggest thing is, that taken from that, like it literally lit my world up when he just was like, oh, where are you from? I was like, I'm from Lufkin, Texas. He's like, cool. And then went and teed off, and that was it. But I was instantly a fan. So I try to do that for everybody.
What a cool
if I ever play.
What a cool full circle event, though. You said you ran back into him on the range.
Yeah. He was warming up. I don't know. I don't exactly remember if it was before his practice round or before our first rounds. But yeah, I was like warming up or practicing on the range, and I got real close to the ropes and I almost hit it with my 3-wood. And he was like watching me, and he was like, "You're gonna hit that." And I was like, man, I swing it so fast, I'll cut right through it. And that was it. So, but yeah, I thought that was a cool little full circle there.
That's awesome.
His swing is still so pure though, too. I watched him hit a few, and I was just like, it's pretty fun to watch.
Oh, that's good. So what's next for you, Sam? Do you have, what's your status like? Are you said you're going to Monday Q for a little bit and do APT tour. What's 2021 look like for you?
I have a lot more Monday because I made the cut in Valero. I can go straight to the Monday, so I don't have to do pre-qualifiers and all that. So perfect. I'm going to be going and doing a bunch more Mondays if I can. I'm already signed up for like Wells Fargo right now, and then I have U.S. Open qualifying at the end of this month, which I'm pretty excited for, because that's a pretty grueling test, and once again, that's a big mindset kind of thing. And so hopefully I get through both of those and maybe play in a U.S. Open. But other than that, it's kind of up in the air with Canada. Hopefully Canada starts. If it does, then I'll be going up there. And I've heard rumors that they might play in the States if Canada doesn't start. So if that's the case, then what I think I'm going to do is chase Mondays and play on the U.S.-based Canadian tour. That's kind of what I'm hoping happens, honestly.
Raw Fairways is produced by Eddie Dunn and Mike Sells. Thanks again to Same Fidone. A Fidone. While Sam chases Mondays, we're going to be chasing the guests. And who knows, we might just find another left-handed player. Apparently, there are no right-handed players left in this world to come onto the show. As always, thanks again, everybody, for listening. We will see you next time. You know the drill. Please be kind to each other.